Check console. Check. Sehr schön.
I know many of you think I'm AI. I'm not AI, but this is AI. Maybe in the future I'll get to work less.
DJ Two Fans, Mr. Five Star. But nothing but the best R&B hits.
So fast. I wrote you a simple just to say how much you mean to me.
I need to join this on the call.
For executive growth and influence. So we'll look at how to expand your presence, elevate your voice, and drive business impact. So maybe we'll start with a question or maybe a statement. Do you have a LinkedIn profile? Or maybe it should go, who does not have a LinkedIn profile? Maybe by just a show of hands. Robert will moderate for me the session because I believe every professional, as it is today, most people try to be on LinkedIn. So maybe the right question should be there, who does not have a LinkedIn profile?
Actually, here in Uganda, it is a national rule that every Ugandan should be on LinkedIn. I know you're not seeing the numbers yet to be 41 million LinkedIn users, but we'll assume that we are all on there.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know. And we'll maybe discover in a few the importance of LinkedIn, why as professionals we need to be on LinkedIn. So we'll look at the different platforms because whenever we all go on different platforms, we are all looking to achieve different things. Like when you go on, we'll take an example, we'll use an example of donuts here, and we'll look at when you're on Facebook, what do people do on Facebook? You'll find people posting photos and saying, I like donuts. When you go on Snapchat, someone will put a post and say, look at me eating a donut. On Instagram, you'll be like, here is a cool photo of my donut. And Pinterest, people will be like, here is a recipe of a donut. On Spotify, I'm listening to donuts. So different social media platforms call for different engagements. But what happens when we go on to LinkedIn? On LinkedIn, people get a professional mindset. You're looking at how to operate a donut franchise, or I'm looking for a job at a donut company, or I have a 3 years experience making donuts, and so on and so forth. So here, LinkedIn supports professional aspirations as to compare to the other social media platforms. And that's why we like to encourage all attendees or anyone we're working with to have their profiles aligned with their career goals. Like, here's your profile, yes, here's your profile as Hazel, but what are your career goals? Are they aligned? And once you get them aligned, then you get into the professional mindset and you know what to actually post on LinkedIn. So what makes a good brand? We all know, most of us, I believe almost everyone on the call is in marketing or works with marketing at some point, and we all know the definition of a brand. We don't need to go through it. And you'll see that obviously a brand is a company's promise to its customers. Sorry, did someone say something? Okay, Robert, does someone have a question?
Sorry, I'm all right. All right, just let's set some housekeeping rules just quickly. If you do have a question, you'll put up your hand. I will look out for you. Hazel, on your side, please do not get interrupted until I come in. I'll interrupt you on my side.
Okay, no problem. Thank you, Robert. So what makes a good brand? Obviously, it's how you position yourself, how the brand position yourself, But here we are going to look at you as a person, you as a professional. You're also a brand. So most people don't know their brands. So what is your promise? What are you promising to the people around you? You have to reinforce the concept of personal branding. And remember, your brand as a person is your promise to those around you. What are you promising? What are you telling people to expect from you? Anybody looking at your profile as Robert, as Hazel, what are you looking at? What are we expecting when you look at it? So people can shape their brands on LinkedIn in different ways and forms. So you can craft a strong personal profile. You can share your thought leader content. That's another way for people to identify you as a brand. And as I'm going through all this, I'm sure in your minds you have different peoples of different connections or different people in your network group who you can place into the different facets we're going through. Some people go into LinkedIn and say, let's humanize the brand. What are we sharing behind the scenes? Are we sharing behind the scenes stories? Because some people look at people's profiles and they're like, it's all perfect. Everything is going well for them. But there are also those professionals who like to show you what's going on behind the scenes. We call it humanizing your profile. Being human at the end of the day, not let people look at you not as the CEO of a company, not as a CMO of a company, but what do you do behind the scenes? How do you interact with the people you work with? How do you even interact with people outside the workplace? Because people have this notion that on LinkedIn, I cannot post personal story, but we try to advocate for people to be as human as possible. We know outside the work environment, you also have a life. Some people like to have different hobbies they like. They'll either like to go for hiking. They like to go for concerts. They like to do CSR initiatives. Are we sharing this with our professional network to see what we do beyond our careers? Some people engage with the community. Others align with the company brand. Others go into LinkedIn for strategic networking. And others build trust and credibility using LinkedIn. So in this case, we always advocate for people to showcase their unique values, expertise, and personality, whereby you align your profile with your career goals and your leadership style. So here I'm going to look at a quote by one of our own, a gentleman by the name of Tim Salau. Tim Salau said that your personal brand should follow you everywhere you go. It needs to be an authentic manifestation of who you are and amplify what you believe in. So most people might not have heard of Tim Salau, but he's globally known as Mr. Future for Work. So if you go onto Google or any platform and just Google Mr. Future of Work, you will find this guy. He's called Tim Salau. He's a Nigerian American executive as well as an author and a thought leader. And his voice and vision has shaped the way we think about leadership, workplace culture, and innovation in the 21st century. So where does this all start? Because yes, you might be on LinkedIn, but are you getting the concept right? Are you doing what you're supposed to be doing there? So when you're on LinkedIn, we say it all starts with your profile, because the moment you meet someone or the moment you hear of someone, I'm sure, especially in our professional circles, the first place people go to is LinkedIn. You want to see who is this Hazel we've met today? What do they do? What have they done with themselves? So remember, this should be your mirror when you're not there. People should look at it and say, okay, it makes sense why she was talking like this or why he was talking like this. So what makes a LinkedIn profile strong? And do we regularly update it to reflect our career progress? So first things first, do we have the right profile picture? When you open Hazel's profile, you just get the name Hazel with a blank, no photo, so you can't really tell whether it's the Hazel you met or the Robert you met, or it's someone else with the same name. So we always have to remember it's very important to have your right profile picture, a professional photo onto your profile. Do you have a custom banner, or also that place is blank? And people might wonder, what when Hazel says custom banner, what are we talking about? The custom banner is the part of the profile that appears behind your photo. So if you open your LinkedIn profile and you look at your photo, have you put something in the background? Is it something associated with the current company you're working for, or is it something associated with your brand? Or if you're a consultant, is it something associated with what you do? And LinkedIn recently introduced a very interesting feature called where you can record and display your name pronunciation, because especially in our part of the world and other parts, unless you're either English or Americans, where they have names that are easy to pronounce or we're used to, but you find names that sometimes are hard to pronounce. So have you made it easier for your network to know how your name is pronounced? So they actually have a feature there where you can record and display your name pronunciation. So if you want it pronounced in a particular way, you can always go there, record it with your own voice, and let people know how your name is pronounced. Back to your profile, do you have a compelling headline, or under Hazel, you just have your job title? Hazel Nzioki, account executive, or do you tell a compelling headline? Do you have a compelling headline, which is more than just a job title? Then goes to the about section. About section, some people make it very brief, but we always encourage people to turn it into a story. Tell a story about your career journey in the about section. What have you achieved from the time maybe you started?
Okay, don't worry, I'm going to mute the person. Sorry, continue.
It's okay. The about section, are we telling it into a story? Are you telling a story of your career and what you've achieved so far? Or do you just list and say, this is Hazel and she works at Turn Left Media? And then also detailed experience. We need to, when we're looking at our experiences, where we've worked, the different roles we've had, are we giving a detailed experience of what we did in those roles, how many years we worked with them, and what did we achieve? So those are some of the things we need to look at when you're looking at your profile. As we say, your profile is your calling card and your reputation. And you can see a statistic there where 15 million plus C-level executives have profile on LinkedIn. And they always say the most influential leaders on LinkedIn stay active and keep their profiles up to date. So remember, your profile builds your credibility. And that's why you see over 15 million plus C-level suits executives are on LinkedIn and work to have credible profiles and profiles that reach out to their followers, their network, and people they try mentor through LinkedIn. So what shows you're the right choice when someone comes onto LinkedIn? For example, if they're looking for someone to hire or they're looking to connect with you, why will I look at your profile and say, maybe I need to connect with you? And why do we encourage people to have the right profiles and components of their professional brand? Are you showcasing your skills? Are you showcasing your network? Are you showcasing your expertise? Because when people go onto LinkedIn, what are they looking for? They're looking at growing your network. You also list your relevant skills. So that when people look at your profile and maybe it's a recruiter of a company, because I'm sure sometimes you see statistics of people viewing your profile. Maybe these are recruiters in different companies. They're looking at your profile. Maybe they were looking for a CMO and your name popped up. But when they go into your profile, are they seeing your relevant skills? Are they seeing, can they see your network and see who you're connected with? Are they seeing your expertise? It's important to have all these things listed and updated on your profiles. Also, don't fear to request recommendations. I'm sure some people have looked at their LinkedIn profiles and they've seen a tab or an area or a field called recommendations and wonder, what is this? You can ask your peers, your colleagues at work, your mentor to just give a recommendation, because all these things are things people, when looking to connect with, or recruiters look at when they're looking for talent. Do you showcase your credentials, your licenses, your certificates? I know some people feel shy when you achieve something, or maybe you've gone into a short training, a short course, and you've been certified or you've gotten your license. Do you come back to LinkedIn and update it? And some people might be like, I was just doing it for my personal reason. Is there any importance of me updating it? It is, because you never know who's looking to connect with you or who's looking to get some expertise from you and what they're looking at. Also, share any projects. People are out there, go out and do a lot of projects, a lot of publications. You come back on LinkedIn, share, and let people know what you're doing. And also on LinkedIn, there's a section called the feature section, and people always wonder, what do I put on the feature section? Maybe you've attended an event, and you've attended an awards event, you've attended a CSR event, or any event, and you've taken a photo, or maybe the company or the organization organizing the event has taken your photo, and you find that they've published it either in a magazine, in a post. You can take that post and come back to your LinkedIn profile and put it on the featured section, because you are featured in that post, you are featured in that article, for people to know at least what you engage in post work or even at work. Do you, as a professional or even just consultant on LinkedIn, you follow relevant influencers in your industry, or you just connect to everybody and anybody? And I always tell people, sometimes you also have to be a bit selfish. Some people are looking for, yes, growing the number of followers or growing the number of connections, but are these people adding value to who you are and to what you're doing? And you, as a person, who are you following on LinkedIn? Are you following people who are aligned to your professional or career growth, or people who are in your field, or are you just following anybody you see? These are some of the things we need to sit back and audit our profiles, our LinkedIn profiles, and look at where we are. Are we following relevant influencers in our industry? Are we following the right people, or we're just following anybody who comes across and requests for a connection? And then also, some people offer services. Do you spotlight the services you offer? I'm sure sometimes you've opened LinkedIn profiles and seen just after where the name appears, you see someone has a link saying make an appointment or book an appointment with us or visit our site. You can spotlight your services or the field you're in or where you work on a link on your profile. So most people ask, what is a profile versus a resume? What is the difference? A LinkedIn profile basically communicates your voice, your value, and your expertise, and reinforces your standing with your current organization. And it goes into a bit more detail. And on LinkedIn, you're allowed to put all the details you want, everywhere you've worked, all the skills you've acquired. And it allows professionals and employees to interact and learn and contact you. Versus a resume, where sometimes we are made to tailor our resumes based on the jobs we are applying for or we are looking for. So remember, on LinkedIn, you're allowed to go as deep as possible, as give as much information as possible. And that's why nowadays you see most recruiters or any company recruiting will always ask for your LinkedIn profile, because they know they'll get more information from your LinkedIn profile as compared to your resume. So always make sure your LinkedIn profile is as detailed as possible, because most of the statistics we get, even when we talk to recruiters, are like, yes, we'll ask for the resume as a basic, but we always go back to the LinkedIn profile, because we tend to get more details and even more information about the applicant because of the dynamic nature of LinkedIn itself. So always make sure your profiles are up to date with as much detail as possible, highlighting your career journey, your professional journey, and even all those other activities you do beyond your work and your profession. So I'll share some statistics here on why it's important to maintain an active presence on social media, and especially on LinkedIn, and why it has a direct impact on people looking at your profile. They'll say 56% of professionals stated that a business executive's presence on social media positively influences their purchase decisions, and 66% of professionals said they'll be more likely to recommend a company or a brand if they followed a company executive on social media. And this emphasizes the importance of you as an executive or you as a professional being on LinkedIn, and not only being on LinkedIn, but being active on LinkedIn and the impact it has, because you can see what the statistics are saying right there, because people will recommend or they'll influence decisions based on the executives and the professionals of an organization that they follow on LinkedIn. So why do people visit LinkedIn? 62% visit for educational or informative reasons. 61% of people who visit LinkedIn, they say it's because it's relevant to me. 48% say to stay on top of the latest trend, and 40% say it's inspiring. So we always encourage people to align their content with these motivations. When you're putting anything out there on LinkedIn, sorry, not any social media platform, LinkedIn in this case, make sure it aligns with some of these reasons as to why people visit LinkedIn. And you can see the highest percentage is educational and informational purposes. So anybody who follows you on LinkedIn or you must have followed them 3/4 of the time because of reason number one, because you want to learn something from them, or they've taught you something, or you are looking to teach or to put information out there, especially about what you're doing. And members come to LinkedIn to achieve their goals and aspirations through shared knowledge. So as much as you're consuming other people's content and knowledge, are you also sharing yours? So it's always good as executives to contribute insights as well as learn from peers. And you can see some of the statistics there. They say over 2 million publishers on LinkedIn publish things to do with news and also insights, learning information, advice from influencers, recommendations, and peer insights. So let's talk a little about LinkedIn here and how it is in our region as compared to globally. So you'll see there LinkedIn as over 1 billion members worldwide. And I'll ask a question here, maybe to the attendants. How many people do you think are on LinkedIn or are LinkedIn users in Uganda? Just anybody can give a rough estimate of what they think. As you think of what you go to do on LinkedIn and your activity, you can just give a rough idea of how many Ugandans you think are on LinkedIn.
Please put your answers in the chat section so we can capture them. Thank you.
Any answers, Robert?
Yet to see any answers. And since I have close to the answer, I'm avoiding to give mine. So far going once, we don't have anyone yet sharing the answer.
People can just give rough estimates.
Yeah, remember they're muted completely, so they can only chat.
Okay. So, Robert, you can give your answer and let's see whether you're close to or not.
Danny, we have an answer from Danny. Danny, what's your answer? Yeah, need to allow me to talk. Okay, Danny, what's your estimate? Danny, you've been permitted to speak. What's your estimate?
200, Roshat, 200,000 Ugandans on LinkedIn.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yes, Lena, is it Lena?
800.
800 800,000, 800.
Yes, 800,000.
Okay.
So we have two answers so far. Maybe one last one. Anyone else putting up their hand? I don't see it. Oh, we have Rachel. FCIM Rachel. Congratulations on that, by the way.
Thank you, Sam. Truly grateful. 1 million.
And Robert, your final answer?
One,
Yours was the final
1.4.
1.4?
4 million.
Okay. You and Lena are the closest. Uganda has 1.7 million users on LinkedIn.
Awesome.
So whenever we're going out there to post and engage, remember Uganda has 1.7 million. So you've grown. You were at 1.4 early last year, 2024. The current statistic is Uganda stands at 1.7 million as of August 2025.
Oh,
So your neighbors, Kenya has 5.6 million. South Africa has 15 million. And Nigeria has 12.5 million. So you can see that the country in Africa with the highest number of people on LinkedIn is South Africa. But you can see in Africa, we're still a small figure compared to the 1+ billion users of LinkedIn worldwide. So we need to do a bit more. We need to educate people a bit more on LinkedIn and let as many people know the importance of LinkedIn and what they can do on LinkedIn, and then they join LinkedIn. So before I proceed on to my next slide, do we have any questions so far?
So far in the chat, we have we have some questions in the, people were really answering. Hillary, 500,000. Anonymous attendee, over 40,000. Yeah, this one was quite low.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but if you do have any questions, please keep them in the chat section or in the Q&A section, actually. And should you need to ask at any one time, put up your hand. We'll look out for you and give you permission to ask your question. Hazel, you can continue.
Thank you, Robert. So as I introduced the topic today and the presentation, you remember I touched a little about thought leadership. Most people ask why thought leadership is important. Remember, as executives or as professionals, when you're on LinkedIn or when people are going through your posts or when people even connect with you, they're looking at the number one goal of LinkedIn to learn something from you or to get information from you. And that's where thought leadership comes in. Are we putting thought into what we are posting? Are we putting thought into what we are creating? Are we putting thought into what we are saying on this platform? We always say executives should invest time in creating valuable content because of such reasons as to why people go onto LinkedIn. And you can see a little statistics there, though it's a bit outdated, but we must have grown maybe +1%, +2%. And it's just about the consumption of thought leadership. You'll see almost half of decision makers spend 1 hour or more reading thought leadership content per week. And this is the meaningful engagements you see on LinkedIn, people posting something and asking questions or conducting polls or even doing LinkedIn live sessions and talking about something they're passionate about or a profession they're passionate about or something happening in their field of industry. And you can see year on year, it keeps growing. People are spending more than 1 hour, 1 hour plus on LinkedIn, just engaging with thought leadership content. And we might ask ourselves, why is thought leadership content or pieces we put out there important? One, remember, it builds your trust and credibility. When you go there or when you're reading someone posts and they're sharing their expertise, and talking about industry insights. You're able to trust them because you know this is so and is an expert in this field and is sharing statistics. So you tend to believe what they're saying. So it builds trust and credibility. Now, reason number two, it also drives influence and visibility. Are you shaping conversations and influencing decisions with what you're posting? Because remember, when you're an executive out there, people are looking at you. When there's news out there, people look at so and so is a profession in this field. What are they saying about it? Are you shaping the conversation? Are you influencing decisions? Three, what again is an advantage of thought leadership? You educate and inspire others. Remember why people go on LinkedIn? For education purposes and to get inspiration and knowledge. So are you helping others grow by sharing your lessons, your insights, and even failures? Some people think when you share your failures, it doesn't look good. But at the end of the day, we always try to tell people, as much as yes, you're out there as a professional on LinkedIn, you're also human at the end of the day. So I'm sure if we all ask each other to narrate our career journey, there must have been failures, one or two failures here and there. And it's part of the growth because that's what shapes who you are. So people are looking at you to educate them and inspire them. So don't fear sharing your failures as well. When you're sharing your lessons and insights, remember also to share failures. Maybe you went for a meeting or you went for an interview, it didn't go well, and you thought something went wrong. Are you coming back to share with people so that people can learn from it? So what else does thought leadership do? It attracts opportunities. I'm sure you wonder why sometimes you see a certain voice on LinkedIn always being invited to talk at events, talk on radio shows, TV shows. And at the back of your mind, I'm sure you can put a name or two to this, and you'll always find these people either being invited for these different events, for partnerships, for media features, for speaking engagements. It's because of what they post on thought leadership on LinkedIn. Because the more people see you posting, then when I need someone to go deep dive on digital marketing, I will call so and so because they're always posting about digital marketing. They're always posting about marketing. They're always talking about it. So it gives you those opportunities. And then also it strengthens employer branding. When leaders and employees share insights of an organization, it shows a strong internal culture. I'm sure you can pinpoint some organizations in Uganda, and from my end, I've actually seen. I can talk about one or two where you'll always see their leaders and their employees posting something on LinkedIn, talking about their work, or even activities they get involved in together as employees. And this ends up strengthening the employer branding outside there. When people look at MTN, for example, when people look at Uganda Clay, when people look at name top companies in Uganda, and then you'll be like, we're always seeing them posting on LinkedIn. We're always seeing them showcasing what they're doing. We always see them showcasing their CSR initiatives, and all that builds a strong brand. So what can you do when you're leading with thought leadership? You share insights, articles, and comment on industry trends as a professional. You can publish original content that reflects your values and expertise. Maybe you as a
So are you
professional.
changing your screen by any chance? Sorry to interrupt you.
Sorry?
Have you changed your screen from
No. I'm just on thought leadership.
Awesome.
Because I decided to just go a bit deep on thought leadership because we always get questions like, Hazel, when you talk about thought leadership, what it is, because some people think it's this high level or complicated thing, but it's just putting some thought into what we are sharing on LinkedIn, engaging in meaningful conversations through comments and reposts. So all that encompasses thought leadership. So when you're posting out there, don't fear to share what you're doing. Put some thought into it because people are learning from it, and you gain credibility through that. And 4 ways, people ask, so how can I activate? How do I post on LinkedIn? What do I post on LinkedIn? And these are the 4 most common types of posting on LinkedIn. And most people are used to the short form post where you just see a post and you put a comment, or you just think of something and put a small comment. That's one way of engaging. You can use a short form post. Another form of engaging is or activating on LinkedIn is articles. You can sit down, write an article of something you're passionate about, and then publish it on LinkedIn. You can also do a videos, and the market trends or whatever the marketing trends we're seeing on LinkedIn currently is that videos are tending to gain more traction and videos and impressions compared to any other form of posting. So when you're going into posting, be it for your own personal LinkedIn profile or as a company or organization page, think about videos. If you've not been using videos, do short videos of your executives, your employee, doing different things or engaging in different activities, and post them on LinkedIn. And also commenting. When you go there, see a post you like, maybe from your network or from even if someone who's not connected to you, and you like it, put a comment. That is also a way of activating your LinkedIn. And you can use a mix of short forms, posts, articles, videos, document, etc. And highlight different things, be it the lifestyle, the industry you're in, even celebratory content. I'm sure you've seen people celebrating milestones, people who put comments out there saying they've moved organizations, or they've been promoted, or they've reached a certain milestone. Don't be afraid to put also celebrations there, because people think, oh, LinkedIn is too professional. I cannot post this. I cannot say this. But remember, we are all humans. And you're trying to tell people, please remember that when you're on LinkedIn, you're also human. So humanize the contact. Don't make it look so professional until you've lost the human touch. And also another thing, are you doing consistent posting? Yes, you might use your short form post, you can use your article, you can use your video, but how often are you doing it? Is it weekly posts? Is it monthly? Is it daily? So we'll reach to a point where we'll discuss like what is the recommended number of times one should post. And also there are new features that LinkedIn has introduced. I'm sure in other platforms like Instagram and all that you've seen them, but this is a LinkedIn live sessions. And this is giving the video views a lot of competition, because people say that when I see a professional and an executive engaging on LinkedIn live, I would rather log in and listen than view a 30 minutes video that they've posted. So LinkedIn live sessions, remember, sometimes when you want as an organization or as a person to talk about something, or when you're doing your product launches and all that, remember to do it on LinkedIn live. You'll find more people logging in, more people interacting with you, with you and the brand. Also, some people are doing newsletters, and some people are also creating polls. Maybe when you want to seek the opinion of others on a certain issue, you can just create a small poll and look at what people say. And also engage and build relationships with your network. Respond to comments and messages, celebrate milestones and achievements, and show appreciation and support others. Send that congratulatory message when you see your friend has been promoted, or your network has been promoted, or they've moved companies. Do not fear to do that. And also, whatever we are posting or engaging in, are we measuring it? Are we tracking? Are we tracking the engagement metrics? Are we looking at how many people liked the video, how many people commented on it? Because these are the metrics that guide a professional or someone to know, okay, when I post articles or videos, people like it more than the other form of posting. So it boosts also, makes you know like what content performs better compared to the others. And don't be afraid to learn from top performing executive profiles. I'm sure you can list a number of executive profiles you look at on LinkedIn and say, I would love my LinkedIn profile to look like that, or I would love to engage the way this executive or this professional engages. Do not do not fear to look at their profiles and also learn. Look at what they're doing. Once you look at what they're doing, it also gives you an idea of how you should be posting and what you should be saying. So here we're going to look at 3 executives. These are people we've worked at Stan Left Media. These are people we've worked on their profiles, and mostly you'll see professionals here, and you'll wonder why are we not seeing executives from Kenya or from Uganda or from the East Africa region? Remember, executive engagement is quite new to LinkedIn, and we launched it in Kenya, or we started telling people about it and engaging people in January, so it's still new. So South Africa started like a year or 2 ago, and that's why once we do someone's profile or an executive's profile, we always ask for their consent to do a case study and share. So whatever you see here is people we've worked on their profiles, and they've given us the consent to share their profiles or with the people we engage in. And you can see once we're working on your profile, or we're doing an executive engagement session with professionals or executives, we always do a measure of before, when we start engaging with the profile, and after. And you can see, like, for these 3 professionals we've put here, their profile scores went up. So we always do a score of before and after. Before, we're looking at your photo and how you've completed or not completed your profile, versus once we've finished working on your profile, we also do a measure after. So you can see, like, the first gentleman there, Adrian Go, is a very prominent executive in South Africa. Is the founder and CEO of Discovery, which is an health insurance and financial business company. So the second one is Yolanda Cuba. She's the group regional VP of MTN. And the third is Leo Naik. He's the CEO at TransUnion Africa. So at this point, we can pause and ask ourselves, who are the top executives in our different regions and countries? As much as, yes, Hazel is not highlighting them here, but we know about them. We've seen their LinkedIn posts. We've engaged with their LinkedIn posts. Maybe we can share maybe 2 or 3 from Uganda. I've done my own research a little bit, and I know of a few, but I would also like to hear from the audience, like, who do you know, or who have you interacted with, or which professional can you think of on LinkedIn from Uganda and say, this one really puts a lot of content and puts a lot of thought leadership content, and is the crowd on LinkedIn in Uganda? Maybe we can get 2 or 3 names.
Awesome. Yeah, Danny.
Yeah. Sylvia Mlinge, the CEO of of MTN. Sylvia Mlinge.
One last name, guys. Any other name? Danny, your hand is up, and I unmuted you.
Sorry, I said Sylvia Mlinge of MTN. Yes,
Okay.
MTN Uganda.
All right. So it turns out we have 2 Danny Quezras on the call. There's another Danny within UMS. My apologies. I was reading through the voice. Can we go with that, Hazel, for now?
Yes, and the funny thing is, Sylvia was actually as one of the people executives who engage in LinkedIn in Uganda, and she's quite big, and not only in Uganda, even in Kenya. And even before she came to MTN, when she was in Safaricom, she was quite big on talking about leadership and mentorship on LinkedIn. Some of the others, because I also did try to do a bit of my research on my end to see who are some of the top voices in Uganda. I came across a gentleman by the name, and excuse me if I do not pronounce the names correctly, and that's where the LinkedIn voice comes in correctly for us to put our names there and how we would like them pronounced. So there's a gentleman called Ruben Baryaruhanga. Robert, did I get the name correctly?
I think you were very generous with marks here in Uganda. You still have 100%, but I think it's Biaruhanga.
Okay, Biaruhanga, yes, who is the CEO of Uganda Clay. So maybe when you get a moment, you can look at his profile, look at what he's posting. is quite big, posting about manufacturing and what they're doing in manufacturing. Same to a gentleman called George Arodi, who's the CEO of Uganda Bahati, which I also came to find out in my research. It's part of the Safal group. And then there's also a gentleman called Ian Rumanyika. He's the CEO of Node Group. I think this is a PR and communications company, if I'm not wrong. Those are some of the top names I came across in Uganda. And when I come back home here to Kenya, some of the top names I can think of, there's Wandia Gishuru. She's the co-founder and CEO of a clothing line called Vivo Activewear. And then there's a gentleman called Peter Njonjo. He's the CEO of Twiga Foods. They're big in agriculture and farming in Kenya. And then there's also a gentleman called Ali Hussein Kasim. He's always publishing information to do with tech and the latest tech trends and fintech trends in the market. Then when we go to like South Africa, we have people like Adrian Go, who is featured right here. He's quite big on LinkedIn, and there's obviously most of us or all of us know Vusi Thembakwayo. He's quite big on thought leadership talks. And then also when you look at brands, which brands do you think of when you go on LinkedIn? Because we are not only looking at people here, we're also looking at brands. Because when you go on LinkedIn, other than you being, for example, Hazel Nzioki of Turn Left Media. So remember, Hazel Nzioki is a brand by herself, and also Turn Left Media is a brand by itself. So which are some of the top brands when you think of Robert? When you come to Uganda or when you're in Uganda, which are some of the top brands? When you go on LinkedIn, for sure you'll find they've either posted or activated an article, or they're busy promoting their products or launching their products.
Yeah, I'm a bit on the extremes because I have biases. I still think because I'm looking at the guys who buy media, because then they make some effort as well. I feel Diageo, Uganda Breweries, a few of their brands. I think I've seen Uganda already show up. A bit of Stanbic as well, prominently. A bit of MT as well. There's a brand I'm missing. Mastercard Foundation as well. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to hear, because some of them were brands that I had on my list. And I'm happy to hear that Uganda Breweries is there, because they are one of our clients. We work with them on the marketing side. So I'm happy to hear they are featured there. So it means we are not really doing badly. So when you come to Kenya, when you think of big brands who are big on LinkedIn, you think of Safaricom, you think of Kenya Airways, you think of Twiga Foods, you think of Moringa School, you think of KCB, the bank, Stanbic. So when you look at all of them, you'll always find them posting or talking about something on LinkedIn, either promoting their products, talking about their employees, the executives engaging with people and all that. And in South Africa, again, Standard Bank seems to cut across. They've gotten their strategy well in terms of engagement on LinkedIn, because in South Africa, it's Standard Bank. In East Africa, we call it Stanbic. So it's the same group. Discovery, again, for Adrian Gold. So he does not only promote himself as a brand, but he also does quite big, or rather his company Discovery does quite big on LinkedIn. And then there's also Naspers, and then there's Battle Group, which I think is in the fashion industry as well. So we might ask ourselves, these people we are looking, these top names of executives and professionals we've mentioned on LinkedIn and brands, what do they have in common? Robert or anyone, can you pick one or two things that you think these people have in common, and that's why they're always big on LinkedIn, or they're always top of mind when you're talking of brands or executive on LinkedIn?
I think for me, they're intentional with their journey of visibility.
Okay. Someone else? Anybody from the audience?
Turns out the chat window is still disabled, but yeah, anyone in the voice section, we have a hand. James Asaba, you have access. James Asaba, please. Jethro as well. You all have been unmuted.
Bueno. one of the most that I see with all these brands that keep posting consistently is that they try to dive into the trends that are actually trending, and then they find a way on how they trigger their content with the current trends.
That's true. Very correct. Anyone else? There was a second hand.
James Asaba, Director Membership. Mr. Saba, you've been unmuted. Yeah. Mr. Saba, you and me now to use the Kabaka's language that you use at Majestic, eh? Tukugudeo. I hope that's correct there. Yeah, so Hazel, we have a bit of a delay there. Do you mind continuing?
So it's okay. But what the gentleman said before is very correct. You'll find these executives or these brands always post consistently, keep up with the latest trends. They'll always incorporate thought leadership in whatever they post. They also are big employee advocacies. For example, I always see Sylvia Mulinge's posts on MTN talking about employees, going out there to do CSRs initiatives with their employees. And also humanize leadership. When you see her, for example, and sorry, I'll just use her as an example because I interact with her content quite a bit. When you see her posting there, she's just as human as we are. You wouldn't even know she's the CEO of MTN. And that's what we always say, put your human side onto what you're posting. And they're also celebrating milestones. I saw the other day them celebrating, I think there was a children's home they had gone into, and then they were also celebrating the good results, financial results for MTN. And what else do? They use diverse format. If today they're doing a short post, tomorrow they're doing videos, another day they're doing articles, another day they're doing behind the scenes. And that's why you see all these trends coming up. People doing behind the scenes video of what is happening in their companies when customers or other people are not viewing. And then that's just a bit of short statistics of when we are doing the audits, what we look at. Like Adrian this was earlier this year when we were doing the case study. He had over 191,000 followers. His profile score out of 4, we always give a profile score out of 4. You get is at like 3.0. He will try to do at least one article every 3 months or per month. Post activity, he'll always have at least 6 posts per month. Social action, not so big, but his influencer score overall, the number of people influencers, sits at 91%. And when you look at the screenshot we put on the side there of his banner, you will see he's at 91. He's a top voice. And I'm sure you've looked at some people's profiles on LinkedIn and you've wondered, why is this person a top voice and who gets a top voice? These are people who, this is a recognition given by LinkedIn itself, so you cannot apply for it. It's not like the paid LinkedIn services. So they look at people who are very active on LinkedIn or who are a top voice in a certain area or field, and they're always talking about it or always discussing about it or always giving insights about it, and then they give that badge of top voice. So you'll find several people have that top voice. Like, for example, Adrian Gore has it. When you go into sports, you'll find someone like Lewis Hamilton has it. When you go into the tech industry, you find people like Bill Gates have it. You'll find the Richard Branson have it, because these are people who are passionate and are big on what they do. The next is Lee Nike. Lee Nike, we can also see his influencer score is at 91% as well. So people keep asking, how do we get into this? How do we start talking about thought leadership? Because this is something new. I've never done it. Where do I start? So we always tell our executives and professionals, the first place to start is to build your content into a thought leadership matrix. Sit here as Hazel, sit here as Robert, and decide, this is Hazel. I love customer experience. I love being an account executive. So what field do I want to be known for? What is my brand theme? I'm a champion for what? So that is where you start. Once you've identified what you always want to be known for or talk about, then you come to the content theme. Industry transformation, organizational transformation, product transformation. You can group your theme into different categories. Like, when do you want to talk about professional matters? When do you want to talk about your organization and what they're doing? What do you want to talk about? Things that have got nothing to do with your profession and organization. This is Hazel being human on LinkedIn. When do I want to talk about that? You categorize that into a content theme. Then now we come to the cadence. How many times? We recommend at least sharing 3 to 5 times a week. If it's the article, because the articles are quite long and involves a bit of writing, you can create one article per month. There's nothing wrong if you have the time to create more than one in a month, but at least if you do one a month, that is good for you. And also come up with your own hashtags or identify with hashtags that you want to be known for or you want to align with. Because remember, the moment you hashtag your post or your video or whatever, it reaches the people who use the same hashtag or who have content of similar hashtags. They get to see your content. And then what is your brand theme? Influencer one, influencer two. Are you using influencers? Are you doing it yourself? Are you blogging? You do all that. And that's what we call a thought leadership matrix. So remember, you create a content calendar. You try and align your content with, I'm sure as marketers, you're always in different events, different activities throughout, because that's the nature of marketing. So also align your content calendar with what's going on in the market and match with the local events. Align with local events. Am I participating in any local event? Can I put a post from that event? Can I talk about that event on my metrics? Also celebrate milestones. Share awards you've been receiving, CSR initiatives you're doing as yourself, as a professional. And also as your company, are you doing any product launches? There's nothing wrong with featuring a product launch for your organization in your own personal profile page, because your company can go around and put a post on it on LinkedIn. You can come and repost it with a comment or share it with a comment. That is also part of building it into the thought leadership metrics. And then, as we say, always amplify your reach to key audiences on the LinkedIn platform. Because some people just want to post, but when you're a thought leader, some people remember something about LinkedIn. When you're posting on LinkedIn, the people who will see your post are the people you're connected to. The second degree, people who are connected to your connection, and also the third degree, people who are connected to your connection. So that's how the LinkedIn, that's as far as your post will go. But remember, sometimes when you're a thought leader, you want this content to reach more people. You want to amplify its reach. And LinkedIn normally provides such solutions or paid tools where you can use to amplify your reach or to boost your content. You can do sponsored updates or message ads. Once you put a content out there, once you put an article out there, once you put a message out there, and you want it to reach people who are not part of your connection, you can always use LinkedIn ads and target professionals. Maybe you put an article talking about marketing or talking about digital marketing, and you want to connect with people in your professional circle, but remember, you're not connected to all of them. So there's a platform called LinkedIn ads where you can pay for this. This is a paid service. You pay for it and your message gets boosted, and it reaches people who are beyond your professional circle or your network. So as we come to a close, we can see the power of LinkedIn in all that you're doing. Other than being in the professional, we'll just notice that LinkedIn can be used to engage, can be used to recruit and it can be used to nurture. And I'm sure some of you are in organizations that use LinkedIn a lot, and you can attest to this. You can see how people use LinkedIn to engage. You can see your HR using LinkedIn as a recruitment platform. I'm sure sometimes when you see job adverts on LinkedIn, some people are like, why are some companies advertising on LinkedIn and others are not? And also nurture relationships. So we say LinkedIn isn't just a marketing channel or a sales channel or a recruiting channel. It's all of the above, and the executive profile has a unique role in being the glue between those functions and in a very individual human way. So as much as LinkedIn is a professional platform, but we also count on the professionals in them to give that individual human nature to the platform, so that people can see it's not only about professionals and professional things going on, but also there's a human side to it. And we say from a single executive profile, content can help shape brand reputation and bring visibility to the work and the company is doing. So please always remember that whenever you're posting, whenever you're interacting with LinkedIn, because people are looking at it, people are looking at the organization you're working in, and are you bringing those same values onto the platform? Are you communicating the same values and philosophy of your leadership team? And are you using this to deepen the relationship across the community that and will help drive the top of the funnel awareness all the way from the people who deal with you to customer retention and loyalty? And some of you might wonder, we've never heard of Turn Left. Who are these Turn Left? Remember, LinkedIn does not have offices in Africa. So Turn Left is it's a company that the headquarters are in South Africa, but we have offices in East Africa and West Africa as well. And we handle all LinkedIn services and engagements in the region. And we work closely with the LinkedIn teams to do this. And some of the top brands we work with, especially in the East Africa region, include Safaricom, Britam, Diageo, Kenya Power, Uganda Breweries, WPP, Africa Wildlife Foundation, Strathmore, and many more. So in case you've seen these brands on LinkedIn and you're wondering, who are these working with these people? How are they managing to be on LinkedIn? We work closely with them to achieve this. So as I close, my closing thought would be like, always remember whenever you're on LinkedIn, LinkedIn rewards authenticity, consistency, and strategic engagement. Always remember to be your true self, because sometimes I come across profiles and I'm like, is this really what is happening? Are these people being true into how the industry is doing? So always be authentic in whatever you're posting, in whatever you're engaging with, because remember, as much as you're sharing your success stories, there is nothing wrong with sharing even failures you encountered along the way, because it's a learning process. And remember, as you're posting out there, there are people looking at your profile and thinking, I'm learning a lot from this person. I'm looking up to this person maybe to get to where they are. And whether you're an executive building thought leadership, a professional expanding your network, or a brand driving growth, remember LinkedIn as your launchpad and as your partner in doing all this. And I think with that,
thank you very much, Hazel. I'll hold it right.
And maybe just people might wonder, okay, Hazel has done this presentation, so what is next? So remember, some of the packages or some of what we engage in as LinkedIn or as Turn Left Media is we encourage people to share their experiences, and they can do it in different ways. If you're an executive looking to put yourself out there, you don't know how to do it, we unlock tailored executive engagement packages which are designed for impact. We can also boost your visibility with LinkedIn thought leadership solutions. We can partner with you to elevate your brand and leadership presence, and also through the other LinkedIn products, because maybe people only know LinkedIn for professionals and their profiles and brands, but LinkedIn has more solutions to that. There's a solution called LinkedIn Marketing, where most of the brands are using this solution to amplify their brands, to talk about their brands, and reach people who they're not connected with. There's also LinkedIn Talent Solutions, where companies and organizations are using it for recruitment and hiring. And also there's LinkedIn Learning, which is quite big. And LinkedIn Learning itself has over 23,000 courses on the platform. And as we're engaging with our clients, we find more and more people are tending to get these solutions for their organizations so that they can always keep their workforce upskilled, and you end up saving a lot of time and money, because remember, this is a solution where someone can learn while they're on the go during their lunch break anywhere. They don't have to take days off from the office to go for a training session. They can always learn while they're on the move. So in case you would like to engage with us on either of these solutions, you're free to get in touch with me. My contacts are there, my phone number, my email address. You can always reach out. We can guide you. We can discuss way forward and all that. And always remember the road to executive profile mastery. You can't wake up today and you're running. You have to take baby steps. You can't wake up today and you've had a dormant profile and you think you'll reach to 100 tomorrow. No. Just start by crawling, where you establish your presence, you develop consistency, and then you lead in thought-provoking dialogue. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you enjoyed my session. And I look forward to any questions. Robert, to you.
Yes, I want to quickly, it's raining heavily here in Kampala.
Oh, wow. Send some rain to Kenya.
Yeah. So, yeah, I want to do the questions quickly. We'll give 3 people a chance to ask questions, but allow me just read quickly what is in the chat. Jackie Namara, who is a phenomenal marketer and leader here in Uganda. If you're looking for a thought leader to add to your slides, she's a good one in Uganda. Quite a giant from here. Now, Jackie said, based on the thought leadership slide, what are the current trends that looks like it was 2024, 2025? What topics or themes have the most engagement? Which formats work best? Articles, graphics, videos, or is it a combination of formats? Yeah, so that's a question. I believe that you'll handle that one.
Yes. So as I said, basically based on the formats, we've seen the video format is doing quite well compared to normal posts. And also, what is surpassing video formats is LinkedIn Live, especially when you're doing product launches or you have an event. That is also doing well. And also, we have carousels. Remember, when you're in an event and you take the photos, instead of just putting one photo with a post, when you do a carousel of images and you promote that or you post that, they tend to do quite well. And for the statistics for thought leadership, I know they have gone up. I will not lie and say I have the exact figures, but this is something I can always go back to the drawing board and get the recent figures, or look for if there's any survey that has been carried out recently and share the figures. Robert, I believe if I share with you, you can share with the team, as well as I'll share my deck as well. And I'll try to incorporate or whatever recent statistics I have on the thought leadership. But we can all agree and we can all see different speakers coming up, talking about thought leadership, and in different fields: personal branding, fintech, tech. One that is very big and I see quite often here in Kenya, I don't know about the Uganda side, and maybe Robert, you can also tell me what people really are talking about. But in Kenya, people are really talking about the tech industry, and specifically AI on LinkedIn, and all pros and cons of AI, and how people are interacting with AI, and how you can incorporate AI in everything you're doing. So that's quite big in Kenya right now. So I don't know in Uganda whether, other than that, whether you have any other thing that's really trending and most people are talking about, and people in leadership and executive positions and professionals talking about.
Yeah, so there are quite a lot of topics people talk about. I'm just trying to, because you have a hard stop, I'm just trying to keep in just 2 questions again from the chat, and then we'll give people an opportunity to ask. So I'm rushing through this to allow us eat this bowl of fruit fully. So James Sasaba from Majestic Brands has asked I don't know if it's a question, but I'll read it the way he stated it. Hashtags effectiveness has shifted. They are no longer the primary way of people discovering content, since algorithms and search functions now play a bigger role. For content discovery, can we still depend on them? He asks. Yeah, that's on the hashtags, the issue of hashtags.
Yes, I know they've shifted, and with the growing trends, definitely it has shifted. But you see, if you post an article today, and let's say it's about digital marketing, and you just post it and don't put a hashtag, for example, of hashtag digital marketing, it will still reach less people than you putting the hashtag. It might not be the most effective. There are obviously other means and algorithms that have taken over. But remember, you are adding that hashtag of digital marketing or whichever other hashtag you want to associate with your post will tend to reach still a larger audience compared to you not putting it. So yes, I agree. The algorithms and other things have shifted, and there are more better ways to post it. But if you're posting, it's do I put it? Do I not put it? If I do not put it, you tend to get to a bit fewer people compared to if you had put it. So it's just you can opt not to use it. It is not a must. You can opt not to use it, but there are still pros of you using it. As much as yes, there are more better ways to doing it and algorithms and all that.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Now I need to first leave my dying wish here. Here in Uganda, when it rains, the power goes off, the internet goes off. So if I do disappear for one reason or the other, please feel free to admit James Asaba or Danny Kwizira from the Uganda Marketers Society or Miss Bananora to take over. Okay. Should I disappear from here? But just one last one is Danny asks, how do I change the network of people seeing my content? Also, help guide about boosting or promoting content on LinkedIn if I'm using a personal profile. I think that will be the last question. Okay, and then let's bundle it with another one from the same person. Is AI refined or AI generated content being penalized on LinkedIn, or is it equally considered like fully human written content? And I think that's it. For now, I'll give a chance to 3 people to ask questions directly while you answer that question. Please put up your hand and I'll unmute you. But for now, Hazel, please deal those questions on the floor.
Okay, for the AI generated content, it is not banned on LinkedIn because even LinkedIn have introduced their own feature for AI marketing and all that. But remember, at the same time, I always try to tell people, as much as AI is here, don't lose your human side to AI. Let it be an assistant to you, not to replace you. As much as people fear out there and say, oh, they're going to take our jobs and everything, remember, nobody's taking your job. It's only the people who do not embrace or use AI, those are the people who are going to be replaced. So AI is here with us, so we better embrace it. But always put your voice there. If you want to write an article, write the article in your own word first, then let AI refine it for you. But don't give it the task to write, because I'm sure all of you have engaged with content and you can very well tell what is AI written and what is not AI written. So I always say put your thoughts first, or even if it's in bullet point, then let AI assist you in drafting the post. But don't give it fully to AI, because the readers out there have become smart. People know, even young children know, and they look at it, even images, and say, this is AI generated. Why should I bother reading it? So remember always to humanize your content. Put your thoughts as James first, then let AI assist you. In terms of promoting on LinkedIn ads, remember my previous slide where I shared you can always boost your content. Yes, it's not only for brand or organizational content, it's also for individual content. You can always pay for your content to be amplified. So you can do sponsored updates, you can do LinkedIn ads for your content, because if you want to reach people who are not in your network, the only way you can reach them is through a LinkedIn sponsored ad. You cannot reach someone who you're not connected to if you do not do that. So it depends on what content you're putting out there. And also to look at, there was a question on how you control who looks at your post or who gets your comment. It is all in settings and privacy, so you can always go in there. Under settings, go to the privacy part, and you can control who gets what or who sees what on your profile. And also remember me telling you, go through your LinkedIn connections and network and see what value they're adding to your network. Are you gaining anything from them? Are they gaining anything from you? And start from there, sift. And the more you post out there, the more you engage in thought leadership, the more followers you get, the more connections you get. And always vet before you accept anybody as your connection. There's a setting there that can allow someone to follow you without being necessarily your connection. Because Hazel can decide to follow you because they like what you post, but maybe you're not getting any value from Hazel. So it doesn't mean you must connect with Hazel. You can let Hazel be your follower without being your connection. So there's a place in settings where you can change it and permit someone to be a follower first, then they can send a connection request. And you, as the person or the owner of the profile, you can choose whether to accept it or not, depending on what value they're adding. So remember, they'll still count as a follower, as your follower, whether you accept their connections or not. And that's why sometimes when you look, especially if you've enabled that feature for follower, you can find maybe you have 3,000 followers, but when you look at your connections, they're like 300 or 400. So you're building a follower network with less connections. And what most people or even executives do, because they don't want so many people to connect with them, they actually have a feature where if someone must connect with you or wants to send a connection request, they put your email. So if someone puts your email in your official email, you can specify which email you want them to put. It means it's someone who actually knows you or you've connected with them. So it means that one you can accept, also depending on what value you add. So once you go to settings and your privacy, you can set all that there, because someone can be a follower, but it's not a must you be connected. So it's for you to decide what works for you and what doesn't.
All right. Thank you very much. I think we didn't have anyone put up their hand. People are a bit shy, so I'll ask the last question from Helga Navakoza from the Intech clan, and she asks, what are your views on paid content on LinkedIn, and would you advise the company to do it? I think the first one, the other one was asked was on around a personal account. I think here this person needs a bit of an from a business or brand point of view or company point of view.
Okay, for the paid content for companies, it works very well and promotes your content, because remember, as I said before, anything you put organically on LinkedIn, be it in your personal profile or be it in your company profile, and it's organic, not paid for, remember, it only reaches your connections up to the 3rd degree. But remember, as a company, if you want especially to promote a product, you want it to reach not only your followers, because actually you're not even interested in your followers, because by the time you as an organization has a follower, most likely they're using your products or services, and that's why they're following you. So when you're putting, for example, I'm using an example of a new product out there, those are not the people you're targeting. So you will need to do a LinkedIn, you need to promote your products through LinkedIn marketing so that you can target an audience that does not follow you. And remember, these LinkedIn marketing services, they offer you the chance to even select or curate your audience. You can actually choose from a list of people or who you want this content to go to. And I'll speak on behalf of, maybe you want it's your own private content on your LinkedIn profile, and maybe you're targeting CMOs only. So if you go onto the LinkedIn marketing platform and you're promoting or you're using LinkedIn ads, you have the option of selecting CMOs only in a region you want. Or maybe you're out there looking for a job and you want your profile to be seen by executives. Maybe you're looking for a top position and you only want CEOs and CHROs to view your page or your content. You have an option to choose all that when you're using your LinkedIn ads and LinkedIn marketing, because it actually gives you the option of choosing who your target audience is.
Awesome.
Thanks, Robert.
Well, thank you very much, Hazel, for going over and above to deliver. But I know that we talked about this a few weeks ago, almost a month, I think. Yeah, and now we're here and it's done. Thank you for sparing your time. I know you have a very busy schedule, and I know you actually had a hard stop at 12 p.m. So thank you for sharing with us. On behalf of the folks on this call and from the Uganda Marketer Society, we really appreciate the time you took on to deliver this, and then send back our love from the society. We can't wait to welcome you as one of us, as a member of the Uganda Marketer Society. We know that you don't have any Ugandan staff as turn left, but I believe there are people here who are going to go on their profile and they're going to start targeting ads, targeting executives at turn left in South Africa to notice them. In Uganda and in Luganda, we call it Kwetega. I'm very sure I would pronounce that. Yeah, so it's basically, showing up or being visible in the right places.
We're actually looking to expand in Uganda, so you might see one or two of our teams either towards the end of this year or next year coming to look for you there. So we're looking at growing into the East African region because we are actively in Uganda. We work with Uganda breweries, so we're looking at working with more clients there. So we might come and pitch tent there. So you better welcome us nicely.
Yeah,
Robert.
We are good people, and when you come here, you won't want to go back. And that's exactly how the Uganda Marketer Society is when you actually join us. But yeah, this was a very, very, very good session. I think I've taken a lot of takeouts on my side. I think one of the key ones that I noticed for brands is, and a lot of people forget it in their annual strategies or in their planning, which is the employee advocacy. Like, how do you have this resource? You're a bank, you're a teleco, you're an FMCG, you're an NGO, name it. You have more than 2,000 employees, 1,000, 500, 300, or even 10. You have such a huge number of people who can push the brand on your behalf, your employees, and we're not utilizing them well. So how do we refocus our budgets to speak to that? Two, very happy to see that you talked about a couple of things. The score, what your profile score is. I think as a takeout for many of us, when you get off the call, would be good to check out what your score is and what can you do to improve or to hack it, like we like to say in the tech world, so that you can go further. Then I liked the humanizing leadership example as well, aggressively. If you look at most of the leaders that have really done well, they're not very, very stuck up there. I think if they're stuck up there, they're not bosses on LinkedIn per se, right? But the people who really done well in that format, in that, have really gone on well. If you look at Sylvia Molenge here she's a goat in Uganda, and people look out for what she does. Even the algorithm loves her, so I think I keep seeing her in my newsfeed. Though I'm one of those LinkedIn people, I struggle to comment because I don't like when I comment and then people see that I've commented. I like to keep it back, but again, that's not the right way of doing things. Yes, I like to work like an assassin. You don't come and put your stuff out there that I've shot down this and that. So, but I think at the learning, I mean, you need to see beyond that, because that's where the growth is. Growth is in uncomfortable places. I think
Robert, to talk on to your point of employee advocacy, LinkedIn actually have a product called the LinkedIn Live page. And if you look at brands, like if you look at MTN Uganda's page, And if you look at in Kenya, Britam, they are very big on the MTN live page. When you open the page on LinkedIn, go to the tab called live. And actually, the live page is meant for employee advocacy because they showcase what employees are doing, what they're achieving, and actually it has a call to action button because if you like or if you subscribe to it, it means that you're in, or it says if you're interested to join us, click here. Most people go to those pages, and once they click that button, you actually enter into the database of that organization as someone interested. So if Robert goes to the MTN Uganda live page and you say I am interested, you actually go to their database. So the moment they'll be recruiting for someone, for example, in digital marketing, your name will automatically pop up or your profile will automatically pop up just because you were at their live page and you liked what they were doing and said you're interested. So that is one of the features top organizations are using to promote employee advocacy.
That's a good one, actually. Ouch, there's nothing new under the sun. I think that used to be a part on the website when I was still a web developer that we had live company. Now LinkedIn, all right. That's a very well done feature because it really speaks to, how the employees of a company can be a voice to attract, demand for new employees, but also new customers. So that's a good one. Yeah, so I feel like after this meeting, a lot of our members on the call will be able to follow up on auditing their profiles and trying to be out there more than they are currently. There's a lot of activity on the group as well. So I think there's a question I did ask for Mr. Ian Kabanga. But as a takeout, I think you'll have to write for me what you were trying to pronounce earlier. What you are trying to write earlier. Pronounce, those things that were you pronounced and didn't get right. Turns out I also didn't get right. That's how crazy Uganda is. We have 52 tribes, 52 different languages. Where you have Swahili, we don't have a language that that is exactly like that. Luganda tries to be, so we are a bit from the look of things. But yeah, I noticed you mentioned from the examples you mentioned Uganda Bati.
Uganda Clays.
Uganda Bati, yeah. And Ian, I think, was directly working at Uganda Bati. So you mentioned Uganda Clays, you mentioned MTN. Just to recap as we end the call. So you mentioned that's for Uganda. Then for Kenya, you mentioned now I can add Britam.
Britam, yes, for the live page.
Yes.
Or for which?
Yes, I'm just taking out pages people can go to after here, and they can take
or like in Uganda, we can do MTN, Stanbic, Uganda Clays, Uganda Bati. There's also Fido Uganda. I think it's a fintech company. And then there's NextGen, who are in communications as well. Those are big companies that are doing quite well on LinkedIn in Uganda. In Kenya, there are quite a number. There's Safaricom, there's Kenya Airways, there's Twiga Foods, there's KCB, there's Britam, there's Moringa School, all that.
Okay, then then can we just do one last one on the individuals in the country? So Uganda, we are sorted. Okay, Uganda, because if you're going to struggle to pronounce it, I'll just type it for the members when you give it to me. So Kenya, which individuals do you want us to learn from?
You can look at Wandia Gishuru, you can look at Peter Njonjo, but a very good one is called Ali Hussein Kasim. He's in venture capital and thought leadership.
On fintech, yes.
Sorry, not venture capital. Sorry, he's the CEO of a tech and a fintech company. So he's big on tech, and he actually releases, I think, weekly articles on the latest trends in tech and all that.
Yeah, I think I hosted him about 4 years ago. Yeah, so
and then there's also a lady called we might want to call them the Gen Zs. She's called Wandia Gashag or someone. I'll get the name for you and send it to you. She's very big she's called Nyandia Gishago. She's big in AI and tech as well.
Yeah, so I can guarantee you I cannot write what the words you're pronouncing, but yeah, this recording will allow me to go word by word and stuff. Awesome. Then South
But
Africa.
it's okay. What I can always do, we can have a call after this and we can agree. I can share with you the deck, and I can also share with you a list of the people I was talking about.
Awesome. That will be great. I think we'll send it in the summary email and recording. So we add the recording and the recording, the deck, and then those personalities to crown it. Yes. Thank you very much for your time. Send my regards to Brenda and the team that side.
I will.
Those in office.
I will.
Good work today, and see you on the next one.
And thank you so much for hosting me and for all those who attended. I really appreciate it and looking forward to connect on LinkedIn. And when I visit Uganda, for sure, you must invite me for one of the Uganda Marketing Society events so that I can meet these wonderful people.
Awesome. We have a lot of those. And yeah, we have a Marketers Fireplace coming up in November. If you do happen to show up then, that will be a good one for you. But yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Robert. I appreciate it.
See you on the next one.
Okay, thank you. Have a good afternoon. Goodbye, everyone.
Have twice a better one. Bye for now.
Thank you.